This is John Mark, and I'm welcoming you to the Crossroad. This is where real people deal with real issues as they live their real life. I want to take this opportunity to give you an opportunity to walk with me as we walk a bar, as we discuss issues pertaining to life. And like I promised you, we are dealing with relationship issues, issues that pertain to how we walk together, how we live together, how we celebrate one another. And particularly for those who are married, we're talking about how do we journey together in this beautiful life and this journey called marriage or relationship. You could be at different levels. You could be at the level of married. You could be at courtship level. You could be at a conflict level where you are already struggling with a few issues and you're almost thinking, I'm leaving. You're at maybe at separation stage and you're wondering why do I have to go through this? So today I will talk about the 5 dragons of relationships, the 5 things that every couple goes through that we must be able to look at and deal with and ask, how do we handle this? The 5 dragons of relationships. Because in every marriage there are dragons, and these dragons will accompany you. They will walk with you everywhere you go. They'll be part of the journey. They'll be part of your safari. They'll be part of your adventure. So how you deal with them and how you handle them will actually make the difference. And so I'm praying and I'm hoping that you will be able to look at each and every one of them and say, I think I love the way we are handling each and every of the 5 dragons of our relationship. And they've got a lot more to do with how we communicate, how we interrogate situations in our lives, how we deal with individual issues that confront us. So let me begin by breaking it down. The first one is frustration. Many times couples get frustrated. Well, we look at frustration from 2 different angles. There is the inside frustrations and the outside frustrations. Let me start with the outside frustrations to begin with. You could be going to your place of work or you're in a relationship with other people in terms of family and everybody, and they frustrate you so bad. And then unfortunately, you bring that frustration into the family. And when you do that, the problem is the person that you're bringing them to may not be part of the problem, but they do not know what the situation is. So someone is talking to you and is angry with you and you're wondering, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Is it me? And you feel guilty. So that frustration that is from outside can affect your intimacy and relationship inside the relationship that you've got. So it's important you handle it and handle it well. So you need to know how to deal with that. Yes, you can share with me so that I can help you walk through it. But sometimes you may just want to let me know. I don't have to even have answers, but just letting me know that this is what I'm going through, then so that you don't take it out on me. That is important. Now, the second one is the in-house frustrations. Now, this usually comes from either we are not talking very well, either we are misunderstanding one another, either we just doing things the other way around, or we are planning something and it never works, we're investing and nothing is happening. Things don't seem just to be working between the 2 of us, or we are trying to discipline the children and it's going nowhere, and we get so frustrated. Now, this works some people up. Now, a lot of men do not know how to deal with the frustrations at home, so they go out to try and help solve it out by talking to either their friends or looking for someone else who would listen, because there's no conversation in the house. Now, a lot of women, unfortunately, also because the man is not talking to him, now will start looking for someone else they can talk to. So they can talk to a friend, they can be in a chama meeting, they can be with the relatives, with the sisters, or just that kind of thing. And then that frustrates the man even more, that now you are removing our problem to go talk with other people. So in other words, I'm getting frustrated about the frustration that you're frustrating me about. In other words, complicated, isn't it? But that frustration is key. Now, this is what it does. It kills our morale as a couple. It kills our self-esteem. It makes you feel like, I don't feel loved anymore. I don't think this is what I wanted. My confidence runs out because I am getting frustrated everything. It can be so emotional on me. It can take a whole toll on my emotions, my feelings, my psyche, even to do anything. And it ultimately even affects your place of work and your relationship with other people, and worse, actually it affects the quality of family that you end up having as a couple. So we need to deal with that dragon called frustration. And today we may not talk about how much we will be able to deal with this. This we will, in our next video, we'll be talking about it. But I just wanted to bring out the dragons so that we can be able to ask, how do we know these dragons, and do we realize that they're eating into our intimacy and into our relationship and into our beautiful relationship? And then we will look at the way to deal with them. Now, number 2, disappointments. Now, disappointments, just like frustrations, there are those that can be coming from outside and we bring them into the relationship, and there are those that are generated from inside that then makes work hard and life impossible for us. And this can be coming, it gets worse when you are being disappointed by your own spouse, the one you really love, someone you've given everything your life to, and you feel like, why would you go to that extent to disappoint me, to frustrate, to make my life miserable? It leads to lack of trust. If I told you something and you've disappointed me again and again and again, I lose trust that I had in you. I see the inconsistency in you, and then it makes me stop being consistent. It makes me stop doing what I wanted to do. It makes me start thinking whether I can actually go all the way with you. And so in our minds, we begin to start thinking, do I need a plan B? Because everything that I'm trying to work on is not going anywhere. And a lot of people begin to see roadblocks along the way. You're beginning to see the potholes along the way because you're getting disappointed in everything you do. Yeah, we make a promise, you disappoint me again, you don't keep it. We decide to do this, you don't honor it. We decide to do this, you keep disappointing me. Every time we say we do something, like sometimes it could be just a small little thing, like keeping time. We agree we are meeting at 2 o'clock and you don't show up. And then you blame the traffic, which is fine. You don't even call me to tell me you're running late. Or I mean, basically, the thing is, the disappointments can be annoying. And over the period when they build, they lead to us losing faith, not just in the relationship, but in our own selves, our ability to make things work out right. And so it's important that you actually ask yourself, do you often find yourself disappointing your loved one? Do you find yourself always letting them down? Do you always find yourself making them feel like maybe they're losing trust in what you wanted them to do? The more you do that, the more you are actually turning the small little anthill into a mountain. And before you know it, it will be so big you will not know what to do with it. Because then that leads to dragon number 3, which is bitterness. Now, my friend, when you have an angry, bitter person in your house, you are in potential dangerous relationship, because bitterness is anger that has built over the years. It's anger that has built over a period of time. It's annoyance. You've been annoyed, you've been angry, you've reached a point where you're thoroughly bitter, and there's this thing that permanently is here. Now, being bitter does not just mean you're angry. It means you have become angry and it's been over a period. So everything, there's nothing good that person can do and you appreciate. So if I buy you a gift, you're annoyed that I bought you a gift. Why are you buying a gift? Are you trying to buy my love? Are you trying to say there's nothing wrong in our relationship? And you're permanently bitter. The bitter you are, the more dangerous you are to that relationship. So bitterness is not something you'd want. It has built over a period of time because there are things, frustrations and disappointments and things we have and angers that have built over a period and we've not dealt with them. And therefore they are very dangerous. Let me tell you, my friend, when you don't monitor bitterness, it could actually lead to death. And when you talk about death, because it eats you from within, psychologically, emotionally, it eats you. It can lead to develop things like depression and anger and so many other things that I don't want to go into. But I just want you to tell you that when you realize you're permanently bitter about your spouse or your best friend or your friend or this relationship you are in, it doesn't matter how many times they tell you they love you, but there's this red light that is telling you, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. Why are you doing this? There's always a bitterness, there's an anger, there's something deep inside that is always, telling you things about. It is a dangerous place to be. You are actually not just dangerous to yourself, because it could easily develop into a lot of physical illnesses, emotional, mental, psychological, but you are actually a threat to the people that you claim to love, because you would find that a bitter woman would always be beating someone else, kicking the cat, kicking the baby, doing this. You permanently are annoyed with something. Sometimes you ask yourself, why do we have mental problems? I mean, mental illnesses, issues around this country and around the world. Some of them have been things that have been built over the period of time, angers, frustrations that have been built over a period of time, and you've reached a point where you're so bitter. That is why you'd wonder why a normal human being would kill, slaughter a fellow living human being, just in the house, your own child, as a result of a bitterness. Yes, you've gone to the point where you are depressed. You've gone to the point where you've lost senses. You've gone to the point where you've lost ability to reason. You've gone to the point where you've lost the ability to actually be human. You've lost all that. And it is important you ask yourself, can you be able to deal with bitterness before it actually reaches the point where you are bearing fruits of bitterness? And that's what the scripture tells us, that we should not let the roots of bitterness grow in us, because the fruits are dangerous and they can actually kill us, kill the relationship, kill the family. Now, number 4 is being misunderstood. This is not as dangerous as the other, but it can lead to them. But being misunderstood, brothers and sisters, means every time you try to do something else, you try to explain something, someone misunderstands you. It could be deliberate or unintentional. It could be because they think they know what you are going to say before you even say it, and you wonder, can't I just finish what I'm going to say? It leads to fear. That maybe I don't want to talk because I will be misunderstood. I don't want to say something because he will misunderstand. And when he doesn't understand me, he gets angry. When he gets angry, I know where that is going to lead. It leads to that fear. You actually live in an environment of insecurity. You're almost wondering, can this continue? How long can I continue walking like this? It kills your self-esteem. You reach a point where you're wondering, how long can I go on with this? And once your self-esteem has gone down, your confidence goes down, your morale is dead, and it kills all the dreams and the good intentions that you had, that you are hoping you would be able to achieve in this relationship. And so it's important that you ask yourself, how many times do you deal with the issue of misunderstanding? Now, if you are the one who is always accused of misunderstanding your spouse, can you deal with it? Because sometimes you think you know what they are going to say. You can conclude before you even hear the facts. You can read between the lines before they even start the sentence. You can almost tell the story before you even they open their mouth. In other words, whatever they're going to say, you don't believe it, you don't trust it, you basically know it's wrong. And the truth is this: being misunderstood can be one of the most dangerous dragons that can kill a beautiful, loving relationship. And the dragon number 5 is the dragon of fear. And fear comes in as a result of all the things I've mentioned, but it also comes in the way we have walked with one another. How do you walk with one another? Have you reached a point where in your relationship there is fear? That consistently you can't express yourself because of the fear that so and so may. You fear they will not do this. You fear they will not believe you. You fear they will not understand you. You fear they will misunderstand you. You fear you will frustrate them. You fear you'll disappoint. That fear is the worst of all demons and the worst of all dragons in a relationship, because like they said, fear is the opposite of faith. It's a lot of people think that the opposite of faith is doubt. No, it's fear, because fear basically does not allow you to be yourself, does not allow you to express your feelings, your emotions, your creativity, your giftings, your talent, that which you are. Fear puts you in a box that does not allow you to even let your head out so that you can try and be adventurous. I tell people when I talk about motivations and things that inspire people, that if you really ever want to make it in life, you must behave like a tortoise. A tortoise is very comfortable inside its shell, and it can stay there for as long as it wants, and it can stay there as long as it feels there's danger. It can stay there as long as it feels there's nothing worth trying to get out. But when it's time to move, it must remove its head from the shell, stretch its leg from the shell, and begin to move. Now, a lot of us are in that shell position where you are constantly fearing to venture out, fearing to try something new, fearing to try to think of investing, because someone will tell you, Akina Nani tried, so and so tried and failed, so and so tried this and didn't work. Your grandmother said that nothing happens in this family. Everybody seems to be saying no, that everything is basically never right in your life. So don't try. And so you are scared to try something new. You're scared to venture out. You're scared to maybe even a career growth. You're scared to even discuss how many children you're going to have, because he might have a different opinion from you. And at the end of the day, you constantly are having what I call the tortoise syndrome. Friends, I could go on and talk about the different dragons, but I thought I would mention these 5 so that you'll be able to. So if you joined us a little later, let me just remind you as I finish up, so that I give you just 3 tips that can actually help you as you walk through. And the first one I talked about was frustrations, and then the second one was disappointment, and the third one is bitterness, and the fourth one is being misunderstood, and the fifth one is fear. Now, I need you to understand that if you want to make your relationship succeed, if you want your marriage, you want this thing that you value so much to go well, number one is that you need to remember that you're responsible for your actions. Everything you do, first and foremost, is your responsibility. Now, if you make the other uncomfortable, it is your responsibility to start and style up, stand and understand that you are the reason the other is uncomfortable. You are the one that misunderstands the other. So however hard they try, it's you. So you need to be responsible for your actions, and therefore you need to be able to learn to understand you. When last time when I was talking about the different types of intelligence, I talked about emotional intelligence. How do we deal with the emotions? How do we deal with our inner feelings? Do we listen to our inner feelings so that we can actually to be able to work together? So you need to ask yourself, how often do you listen to how people react to the things you do in your relationship? Do your kids fear you? When you walk into the house, they all scatter running and pretending that things are okay. Then you are responsible for making sure you undo that. Do your spouse feel uncomfortable being able to listen to you when you're talking? They're scared that they will not say the right thing. If you know that's what you do, you're responsible for your action. Then it is you to go to the next thing. Now, the second point, which is important for me and I think I need to value, is this: that there is nothing, it feels good to be right. But in a relationship, it is better to be happy. It feels good to be right. And I know a lot of couples fight over being right. I am right. I know you're wrong. And you see, as long as you're pointing at me that I am wrong, you are. There are others pointing here saying, and are you right? You are saying with your mouth you're right, but are you actually right? And right can be very relative because based on the facts. Sometimes people think they're right because they didn't even hear the story. They didn't even hear what the truths were. They didn't even hear the whole conversation, and they think they know. And like I said, I will say it again. It feels nice to be right, but it's better to be happy. So sometimes I need to ask men particularly that you'd rather be in a happy relationship than to be the boss that bangs the table and is right. Let me make it look funny, but it's very true. If a man bangs the table to tell the wife that and the children, don't you know I'm the man in this house? There's a problem. There's a problem, and this comes out funny, but there's a problem. Now your children don't doubt if you're a man. That's why they call you dad. Your wife don't doubt if you're a man. That's why she married you. Otherwise, she would not have married a man. Then the question is, who could be doubting if you're a man? It could just be you. Maybe it's you who's doubting if you're a man enough so that people can respect you. So if you're responsible for your action and you want respect, then let them see it. Let them know. This is dad. I grew up in the olden days when fathers did not have to say anything to know he's arrived. You'd hear and to know he's come. He did not have to earn our respect. He got it. So there are 2 types of respects, and this is just as a point about there is an bestowed respect and there's an earned respect. Bestowed is by position. Like if I am a father, by my being a father, there is a degree of respect that comes with that title and position. But then it gets better as you earn it. In other words, how do I handle that respect position? How do I handle that father position? How do I handle that husband position? How do I handle that wife position? How do I handle that mother position? Because then as you earn it, it adds onto. In other words, you're not starting from zero when it comes to the issue of respect. You already have got 40%, maybe you even got 50%. So the question is, how high do you want to go? So if the more you earn, the better you reach 100%. If you do badly, you might even erode the 50% that you started with. So the question is, are you responsible for your action? Yes, and rather be happy than being right. And then finally, remember this: we are in this relationship together. You and your spouse, you and your loved one are in this. We are working together. I'm not the enemy. We are not the enemy here. We are working together. We are supposed to be each other's best friends. Sometimes when I do counseling for couples and I tell them, listen, you are not the enemy. This is just the loved one that you are looking from the other side of the coin. Don't just see the head and the tail of the coin. It is the same coin. So we are not killing each other because we are enemies. No, we are lovers and we are friends. We are people who love each other. It's just that we are seeing things differently. And all we need to do is appreciate that. Appreciate that I don't have to see it your way. I don't have to see it the way. You don't have to agree with me all the time. But I can convince you. You can convince me. We can actually agree to disagree. But you know the best part of it is that both sides of the coin can't pull away from the other. No. If you remove the other side, there will still just be another side. You can even make the head, a coin have two heads, but it will be just this head and this other head. But they are two different sides. The point I'm trying to drive home is this. We are in this together. Let's do the best we can to make this relationship work. When we do, we will be real people working together, dealing with real issues. And this is John Mark saying, please continue to enjoy. Like this and share with your friends. And I know there are people you'd say, I wish they would listen to this. Forward it to them and let them share this moment. This is a beautiful moment, and may God bless you. Have a lovely, lovely day. Thank you.